Ethan Fish and I were working together last weekend, and I'll tell you one thing. Fish loves you guys, and he loves you enough to put his life story on the line and share it with you. He's a keynote speaker on mental health, substance abuse, and life issues. He's been featured in the New York Times best-selling leadership book, The Heart-Led Leader. And he's also been featured on the headline news and CNN News for the work that he does with colleges and universities and school campuses across the country. It's an amazing, man. Please welcome Ethan Fisher.
With hypnotic philosophies and deep ideologies, bent in perpendicular lines of subatomic hyperboles, incorporating every word and verb that I've learned, spitting on fictitious facts, stumble on acts, get pinned by text, causing a brain to splatter, blood spatters under nuclear matter. So no matter the geographical demographics, I spit lines for the intellectual minds. This backwards hat is not fake. So here's the deal. I'm not here to talk to you about the hundreds of thousands of poems and verses that I've written. I'm here to talk to you about my life, my choices and my consequences. See, I've basically made every bad decision and choice you can make as a student and as a student athlete. And I'm here to tell you my story. But this story right here, this little 10-minute segment, I gotta be honest with you. This is mentally and physically draining. Because every time I give this story and every time that I practice this speech, I have to relive moments in my life that I'd rather forget. But I do this because I know I'm making an impact. I do this because I have thousands of letters from students just like you who said I changed or saved their life. You guys are my motivation. That is why I work so hard to be on this stage so I can give this story. But here's the thing. That little freestyle I gave you at the beginning, I didn't write that when I was taking time off in between school. I wrote that while I was in prison. Prison! Not probation, not parole, prison. Locked away from my family and my friends and every single person that meant something to me. I spent 3 years of my life locked behind razor wire, white brick walls, silver sinks, green mattresses, and inmates who didn't care about my life or anybody else's. Matter of fact, I was in the same tier with the same dude that killed 3 of his own family members over a bucket of catfish. Strangle him out. And I'm stuck by guys like that 24 hours a day in these confined rooms. I'm a felon for the rest of my life. I have an F3 attached to my name. I called 17 apartment complexes when I moved from Fort Collins down to Denver. Not one of them would let me sign a lease. But I'm going to tell you right here, right now, that I go back to prison in a heartbeat. I'll do another 3-piece. I'll do another 5 years. I'll do another 10 years if I could take back what I did. I can't. This is life. There's no rewind button. There's no pause button. The moment you walk out of this room, you are faced with your choices. You're faced with your decisions. And I'm stuck with mine until the day I die. Now, I'm no different than any of you in this room. This is my freshman year. This is my freshman year of going to college, and I had an opportunity to play college basketball. You guys can't tell, but you know, I'm 5'10". Your boy can go. But here's the thing. Nobody knew at this time that I was dealing with all this inside depression and anxiety. All these people in this picture thought I was just some happy kid from Fort Collins. They didn't know back in 8th grade. 8th grade was one of the worst times of my life. You see, 8th grade was the first time I ever gave in to peer pressure, and I started worrying about what other people thought. It got so bad that I told my parents that I didn't want to live anymore, and I had a knife to my wrist, and I was getting ready to take my own life, and they stopped me. Now, I can't imagine growing up in the age that you guys are, with all the pressure from Instagram and Snapchat and social media. I don't know how I would have handled it. Because you guys are dealing with an amount of peer pressure that nobody in any generation before you has had to deal with. So this is hard. But I brushed it under the rug. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I kept it inside. And I thought I was this outstanding basketball player, football player, and track and all this stuff. And I skated by my middle school, my high school careers, and I started to act out and started to do stupid stuff. I started to smoke weed. I started to drink and party and think that was my self-medication. Like, I'm partying, having fun, no big deal. I'm going to go play college basketball. Little did I know that all those choices and decisions were going to affect the rest of my life. Now, I bring this up. I didn't do this last time because this is so important. 2/3 of all students in this room that are dealing with depression don't talk about it. You're going to see what happens when you don't talk about it. Because not only did I fail out of one school, I failed out of two. I failed out of three. Actually, in my third school, it got so bad when I was so depressed and anxious because my grades were so bad I wasn't going to be able to play. Guess what I ended up doing? I made it up in my mind that I was going to kill myself. I called up a buddy and I said, dude, bring every single drug you got. And I'll never forget this. He brought all these drugs, all these pills, and I took 7 pills of ecstasy, rolled up 2 blunts with coke, and I ended up smoking it. And I remember looking at my dude across the parking lot and he grew horns. And I remember going to myself, man, that's the devil. I'm going to die tonight. And I'm underneath this park bench. And I'm getting ready to jump in front of this train. And I pull out this very wall. With this picture. Picture of my baby brother. Never seen his face, never heard him cry. This picture right here is the only reason why I'm standing here today. I put that picture back in my wall and I went back home and I called my mom and said, Mom, I want to come home and see my baby brother. Now I go home and I sober up and I go to another school and I end up failing out because I started to get depressed and I started using it again. I ended up failing out of one more school and then I got an opportunity to go play at another Division I program. But see, my depression was so bad at this point that I didn't tell anybody. And I ended up going to the counseling office when I was at UNC in Greeley, and I'm a Division I basketball player, and I remember having my hoodie on, and I was so embarrassed, I was so ashamed. And I'm walking through the hallways, and I'm going in and out of the doorway so nobody would recognize me. And I remember my counselor saying, Ethan, you have some issues. You're an addict, you got manic depressive, and social anxiety, but I'm going to put you on medication. I got one rule. Do not drink while you take these pills. Do you think I listened? No. I kept drinking and smoking, and before I realized that I had a .43 GPA when I left. I ended up failing out of another school. This is my 6th school. So now what do? I go home to my parents' house, and I'm living, and I'm having fun, and I get called out to a house party, like everybody in this room has ever been to. And I want you to close your eyes for the next minute and think about every single person sitting next to you. These are your friends. These are people that you care about and you love. Chances are you're going to know them for the rest of your life. And I want you to think about a house party that you got invited to and your friends sit next to you. They go to this house party and they started drinking something and they're acting a little off.